The air reeked of fear and desperation. Lyra trembled, her emerald skin cold against the metal bars. Her antennae, usually vibrant and alert, drooped with despair. She was trapped, a prize to be sold, her fate uncertain. Her heart ached for her home planet Zia, with its twin suns and lavender skies. Now she was here, imprisoned in a cramped cage, her captors speaking in harsh, guttural tones she didn't understand. Lyra pressed her slender hands against the cold metal bars, her eyes wide with terror. Each passing moment felt like an eternity. The black market buzzed with a sinister energy. Creatures of all shapes and sizes, some humanoid, others grotesque, swarmed through the dimly lit alleys. Lyra's cage was carried through the throng, her captors oblivious to her silent pleas. The air was thick with the stench of sweat, exotic spices, and something else that sent shivers down Lyra's spine. Fear. She caught snippets of conversations, whispers of deals being struck, of lives traded like commodities. The cacophony of sounds overwhelmed her, each one a hammer blow to her already frayed nerves. She longed for the silence of space, for the gentle hum of her ship's engine. Suddenly the cage lurched to a halt. Lyra's heart pounded against her ribs. A group of burly reptilian creatures were inspecting her cage, their eyes gleaming with avarice. Lyra shrank back, her worst fears confirmed. A hush fell over the crowd as a new figure approached Lyra's cage. He was human, a rarity in this part of the galaxy. His eyes, the color of warm honey, held a depth of compassion that pierced through Lyra's fear. He wore a simple brown coat and a weary expression, as if he had seen too much of the darkness this place had to offer. He spoke to her captors, his voice firm yet gentle. Lyra couldn't understand his words, but his tone spoke volumes. He saw her not as a commodity, but as a living being deserving of respect. A flicker of hope, faint yet undeniable, ignited within her. The human, whose name she would later learn was Liam, negotiated with her captors. His voice was calm and steady, his gaze never leaving hers. Lyra watched, her heart pounding with a mixture of hope and trepidation. The reptilian creatures argued amongst themselves, their voices rising in anger. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, a deal was struck. Lyra watched in astonishment as Liam handed over a pouch filled with credits. He had bought her freedom. For the first time since her capture, a glimmer of hope pierced through the darkness of her despair. Liam led Lyra through a maze of narrow alleyways, the sights and sounds of the black market fading behind them. She kept her gaze fixed on his back, her senses on high alert. Though he had saved her, she still didn't know him. Trust was a precious commodity, easily given, easily broken. They reached a small, nondescript spacecraft docked at the edge of the market. Liam ushered her inside, his movements swift and efficient. The interior was cramped but surprisingly cozy, filled with the scent of old leather and engine grease. It felt like a haven compared to the horrors she had just witnessed. Lyra sat down on a worn leather seat, her gaze fixed on Liam as he worked on the ship's controls. He caught her watching him and offered a small, reassuring smile. "Don't worry," he said, his voice kind. "We'll be safe here. I'll get you home." His words, spoken in her native tongue, sent a wave of shock through her. Lyra felt a surge of gratitude and something else, something she couldn't quite place. As they journeyed through the vast expanse of space, Liam and Lyra's bond deepened. He told her about Earth, a planet of blue oceans, lush forests, and bustling cities. She, in turn, shared stories of Zia, its twin suns casting an ethereal glow over everything. Liam listened with genuine interest, his honey-coloured eyes reflecting the light of distant stars. They spent hours sharing stories, their laughter echoing through the small spacecraft. Liam taught her how to play chess, his patience never waning as she struggled to grasp the intricacies of the game. She, in turn, taught him about Zayan poetry, her voice soft and melodic as she recited verses about love, loss, and the beauty of the universe. As the days turned into nights, Lyra realized that her initial fear had given way to something else entirely. She cared for Liam, deeply and profoundly. Liam was determined to get Lyra home, but their journey was fraught with danger. The galaxy was a vast and unforgiving place, and their small spacecraft was a beacon in the darkness, attracting unwanted attention. They encountered space pirates, their ships bristling with weapons, and navigated treacherous asteroid fields, the ship groaning under the strain. Through it all, Liam remained calm and collected, his skills as a pilot unmatched. Lyra, initially terrified, found herself drawing strength from his unwavering resolve. He was her rock, her anchor in the storm. One particularly harrowing encounter left them stranded on a desolate planet, their ship damaged and supplies dwindling. As they huddled together for warmth, the stars a cold and indifferent presence above them, Lyra confessed her feelings for Liam. Her voice was barely a whisper, her words tumbling over each other in their haste. Liam listened patiently, his gaze never leaving hers. When she was finished, he cupped her face in his hands, his touch sending shivers down her spine. "Lyra," he said, his voice hoarse with emotion, "you are the most extraordinary being I've ever met. But our world—" He trailed off, his words unspoken but understood. After what felt like an eternity, they were rescued by a passing freighter. They continued their journey, their bond solidified by shared danger and unspoken longing. Lyra's heart ached with the knowledge that their time together was finite, but she cherished every moment. As they neared Zia, Liam began working tirelessly to repair a communication device he had salvaged from their damaged ship. He was determined to contact Lyra's people to ensure her safe return. Lyra watched him, her heart torn between hope and despair. She longed to be reunited with her family, to feel the warmth of Zia's twin sons on her skin. But the thought of leaving Liam, of their love being extinguished like a dying star, filled her with an unbearable sadness. "It's almost ready," Liam said, his voice filled with forced cheer. He turned to face her, a weary smile on his lips. "Just a few more adjustments, and you'll be home." Lyra nodded, her throat too tight to speak. The communication device crackled to life, bathing the small cabin in a blue light. Liam had managed to establish contact with Zia. Relief and a deep sense of melancholy washed over Lyra. She could return home, but at what cost? The Zian authorities were relieved to hear from her, their voices filled with concern and a hint of disbelief. They assured Liam that they would send a rescue ship immediately. As they awaited the arrival of the Zian ship, Liam and Lyra shared a bittersweet embrace. "This isn't goodbye," Liam whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "It's just until we meet again." Lyra clung to him, memorizing the feel of his arms around her, the scent of his skin, the warmth of his love. The arrival of the Zian rescue ship was bittersweet. Lyra's heart soared at the sight of her people, their faces etched with relief and joy. But the knowledge that she would be leaving Liam behind cast a long shadow over her happiness. She embraced him one last time, her tears soaking his shirt. "I love you," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "Never forget that." Liam cupped her face in his hands, his thumb gently brushing away a tear. "And I love you, Lyra," he said, his voice husky. "Go home. Be safe." With a final heart-wrenching kiss, Lyra boarded the Zian ship. As it lifted off, she watched Liam through the viewport, his figure growing smaller and smaller until he was just a distant speck on the landing platform. She had found freedom, but at the cost of her heart. Back on Zia, Lyra tried to resume her life. She was hailed as a hero, her story inspiring awe and wonder. But her heart remained heavy with Liam's absence. She threw herself into her work, exploring the far reaches of the galaxy, searching for solace in the vastness of space. Years later, while charting a new star system, she stumbled upon a familiar signal. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but unmistakable. It was Liam's ship. Lyra raced towards the signal, her heart pounding with a mixture of hope and trepidation. Was it truly him? Had fate, in its infinite wisdom, granted them a second chance? Or was this just a cruel trick of her imagination, a phantom echo of a love that could never be? With a surge of hope, she set course for the source of the signal, her heart filled with a longing that only Liam could fulfill.